The greater LA area is one of the largest megacities in the world, yet it borders the San Gabriel Mountains, an incredible and largely untouched range that is a world away from the noise and traffic of the city. Having spent a few days in and around LA, we were ready to escape.
We are in the mountains or in the hills. It is much more pleasant than in the desert. I want to say it's like 75 degrees right now. And as we climb, it will probably get cooler. And hopefully we'll find a nice, cool campsite for tonight.
We had a lot of climbing ahead of us. The road curved its way up along hillsides with the neighborhoods and businesses below. It amazed me how wild everything felt, even this close to the city. We were passing brilliant yellow wildflower blooms and saw several snakes on the way up. With the exception of an enormous dam, the area we're heading into had almost no development.
This has been a really cool trail. I'm really enjoying it. I wasn't expecting something this pretty and this cool right outside of what was basically the entire LA built up area. You know, I was stuck in traffic, driving through neighborhoods, and then suddenly this. So I'm really enjoying this. It said that it was kind of rutted and washed out in a few spots, and there have been a lot of small washouts. It's been very slow going just because it's super bumpy with all those little ruts, but I'm still enjoying it.
As we reached the top of the hills, we turned away from the city and started following the curving ridgelines further into the mountains. The high vantage point gave us incredible views of the hazy peaks.
There's a hill up ahead of me with a huge R on it, like enormous. I have no idea what it's for, but I'm just going to assume that it's for Revere Overland. It seems likely. They probably heard I was in town and decided to put a big R up on that hill for me. Although I am disappointed that they didn't do an O as well. You know, if you're doing it for Revere Overland, you should probably put an R and an O. So it seems like they didn't really put all the effort in. If you think it's for something else, you're probably wrong, but you can let me know. getting late enough in the day that we're starting to look for a spot to camp. It's been very slow going these last few miles, very bumpy, as you can probably tell, kind of rocky in a few spots. Not difficult, just slow going. I pulled up the satellite view on Onyx, and actually there are a few spots not too far ahead. I think we'll probably end up taking about 20-30 minutes to get there. And there's a place that's labeled as a campsite on Onyx, so that'll work. I know he's getting a little impatient in the back. I try and be done by 5 each day, and it's 4:50 right now.
Looking at the maps had helped me find a spot to camp, but it hadn't prepared me for the beautiful scenery along the way. We followed vast mountainsides, crossed creeks, and rounded a corner to an imposing vertical cliff face.
What do you think? It's cold. Splash, splash, splash. Oh no!
Well, this is a beautiful Creekside campsite. I couldn't help but go out and do a little paddling. My little man wanted to do a little more than just paddle. He can probably confirm that the water is very cold. I think I managed to catch him before his face went under. It's a little wet, but that's mostly because I caught him with wet hands. I think he's okay. We're gonna go change his clothes now and make some dinner. Dinner tonight is stuffed crust microwave pizza. This stuff is surprisingly good. I don't know if it just tastes extra good because we're camping, but I really like it. He likes it. And it just takes a few minutes. I decided tonight I'm gonna do a time lapse, although I can't decide which way I want to shoot the time lapse. If I shoot it along the valley behind me, I will get the North Star is like right there in the middle, so I get the stars rotating around the center point, and a little bit of the Milky Way coming across. I use the app Photo Pills to plan that out. It's got a night augmented reality thing that shows me where the stars are gonna be. If I shoot in the other direction, I'll have the truck in the shot, but the background's not nearly as cool. I will have the best part of the Milky Way off to the south coming across until about 1 a.m. when the moon rises. So I really can't decide which way I want to shoot it.
But I figured I would show you guys the camera setup that I do for these night time lapses, because I have a lot of people ask questions about them. And I'll put links to all this stuff in the description so you can see what I'm using. And it all starts with the tripod. So I have a Peak Design tripod. For my camera, I use the A7 III, Sony A7 III. For the lens, I have the Sony 20mm f1.8. I will set the ISO to 640 and then the aperture to 1.8. I'll do 15 seconds like that. Forgot to mention I also have the IceCo little battery bank that I use to keep it charged to the night. I decided I'm going to set it up this way, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and get it shooting for the night because I'm going to bed. Hopefully it turns out good.
Being surrounded by mountains, I'd forgotten how close we were to the city, so any views of the Milky Way were obscured. I did get the rotation of the planet and the usual aircraft and satellites, but I also captured an intense meteor shower on the horizon.
Good morning. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning and has just hit 24 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's pretty much as hot as it's going to get today. But it's amazing how quickly it warmed up. It just immediately got hot and then just stays this temperature for the rest of the day. But it's still much nicer than what we were dealing with, so I will take this. Now we're going to pack up and we're heading basically around these mountains to a viewpoint that's somewhere over there. Well, that's a disappointing sign. The road is closed ahead. I guess it might be because of snow still. I'm just looking at the mountains opposite me and there's still snow up on the north-facing slope. And this goes over the top of the hills here, or top of the mountains here. So there might be snow on the other side. I don't know. Thankfully, it's a pretty easy detour from here, but it just means I'm missing the viewpoint way up top. But there's tons of roads around here on Onyx, so we'll head that way, pick up the paved road that's a couple of miles down that way, go around to find something else to do. We just passed this sign and I figured the campfires were probably not allowed, so I don't usually do a lot of campfires anyway, but I definitely wasn't gonna light one here. It just seems like the kind of place that would catch fire at the slightest little thing. But I had no idea that portable stoves needed a permit. I've never heard of that before in a national forest, and I don't have a permit, so I guess it's a good thing I've been microwaving my meals.
On our way over to the detour, it was clear that the area had been hit by major flooding recently. The roads were washed out and there was debris scattered everywhere.
Looks like there are a lot of roads closed around here. It says mud and debris flow is possible below recent burn areas. So I'm guessing there was some kind of fire and some kind of flooding coming along this river valley here. It's clear there's a lot of road that had been washed away, and it even looked like a couple of houses had been washed away. They're being cleared up. So this was my alternative route, and it's closed as well. So now I'm looking for another way around. Oh, looks like State Route 330 is also closed, which is what I was planning on driving to get back. So I may end up going another way. Might not make it over. Alright, I found another fire lookout. We're gonna go to that one because I wanted to go up to the lookout. So that one will do nicely. Let's turn around.
My completely new route took me in the opposite direction along a few miles of paved roads before turning back off into the hills just outside of Angeles Oaks. On our way, we had views across the valley and could see the campsite and roads that we'd started at that morning. If you want tracks for this route, I'll put some links in the description. Rounding the hill towards the fire lookout, we caught our first views of the city again. The smog rolling east into the hills was thick enough to hide the valleys, with only the mountaintops poking through above the soupy haze. It's times like this that I'm glad I don't live in or near a big city. The Morton Peak Fire Lookout was first established in 1934, then rebuilt in 1960 after the original was burned down. Visibility from the lookout is limited thanks to the thick Greater LA smog, so it was abandoned in the 70s. In 2001, it was restored by volunteers and is now manned by friendly volunteers who are happy to invite you up and will welcome children into the Order of the Squirrels.
This is for you. You're now a member of the Order, Ancient and Honorable Order of Squirrels. There you go.
From the tower, it's a short but steep drive back down to the road.
This road is just steep enough that I'm in first gear for engine braking, and I'm finding myself riding the brakes a lot, but it's not quite steep enough that I want to go into low range and just crawl all the way down. So I'm using the brakes a lot, but recently upgraded to the power brake system. They got the 6-piston calipers, but one of the big attractions of that is that it's an oversized rotor. It's got a ton of little cooling veins in it, so they don't get too hot. You don't get that brake fade that you do with, well, normal Toyota brakes, which are pretty terrible.
I just got done airing up because I got a big chunk of highway driving ahead of me. We are gonna head north from here, and I'll probably see you airing down again.